Hello, self-healers, and welcome. I am Paige, and I'm here to talk about healing. Specifically today, I'm going to be discussing the fall season and how, aligning with that, we can begin a big part of our healing process. So, the fall season is associated with the waning moon, with the menstrual cycle in the phase of the luteal, the premenstrual phase, so right before menstruation, and with the feeling or the healing process of allowing our emotions to be able to sit with our emotions and process. So, I work mainly with womb healing. So in my book that I created, Ancestral Healing Journal and Tracker, these are for women who are menstruating, who are pregnant, who have had a hysterectomy, who have cycles that are irregular, because no matter what phase of maiden mother crone you're in, or what traumas you've experienced to your womb space, you are still carrying that sacred space within you, and you can still very deeply connect to that space and the seasons and the moon, because it is our natural cycle and it is naturally within us in every part of our being. So why then, do we do this? Well, healing is a big part of connecting more within yourself and shedding the layers of expectation that have been put on us since we were babies. The expectation to look, feel, be a certain way. We hold these in our body and over ourselves, and we feel a lot of times like we are losing parts of ourselves, when in reality we're actually just covering them up. And within all of that, that extra layers is our true, soulful, happy, wonderful, joyful, earth-moving, cosmic goddess self that we deserve to live life as. So I want to help you begin that process of connecting to that. So the process of allowing ourselves to feel very often starts with this very simple yet complicated process of awareness. So it's having awareness for, I'm feeling something, I'm not going to shut it down. Because so often we are told that we are over or under sensitive and that our emotions aren't valid. I think especially as women, when we're PMSing, we're pregnant, we're going through menopause, we're dealing with something that someone doesn't know about, all of these things lead into these huge emotions, and people invalidate us, when in reality they're often accumulations of smaller or an initial event that kind of leads into these smaller events that we burst open about. So when we don't allow ourselves to feel, our emotions get stuck within our body. Emotions are energy in motion. So when we are able to kind of live in that flow, our emotions rise to the top, we feel them, we sit with them, we thank them, and we can release them. But often we haven't been taught to do that. We haven't been doing it our whole lives. So when the emotion comes up, we go, oh no, I'm not supposed to feel that, and we push it back into our body, and it becomes stuck. That stuck energy in our energetic field then leads into our physical body, our mental body, which can turn into depression, anxiety, or physical issues like ulcers, infertility, heart conditions, kidney conditions, throat conditions, thyroid, all of that. So, I'm a little out of breath with this big old baby in here. So, how do we begin that process of feeling? Again, it's awareness. When that feeling comes, having an awareness that it's there, meeting ourselves with love and forgiveness and light, because we're allowed to feel. We are allowed to take up space. We're allowed to have emotions. We're allowed to be angry and cry. Anger is the emotion that tells us we deserved more. And for so long, I pushed down anger. I pushed down fear. I pushed down all these things. And when I'm able to allow myself to feel those things, to be angry, because I deserve to be angry, I deserve to have that emotion, I am less reactive and more responsive. So for me, it often looks like having that awareness, okay, here's this emotion, sitting with it, pinpointing it, okay, where is this coming from? Taking the time to take space. So often we're rushing, we're always going through things. You don't have to rush, and you're allowed to sit with yourself. So take the time, sit back and say, okay, where am I feeling this in my body? Okay, this anger is in my chest. Why am I feeling this? Where did this come from? What's the initial point that I remember feeling this emotion and feeling it in this space of my body? And as you begin to allow yourself that feeling and allow yourself to sit with it, it becomes easier to recognize it. You recognize it sooner on. And as we allow ourselves to feel, we are giving ourselves the permission that other people hadn't given us. People told us not to feel. Well, they don't get to tell me that. So now you begin to feel. So having that awareness, meeting yourself with love for it, recognizing, okay, I was angry, or I was anxious, or I'm sad because something happened in my past that has built onto this point of me. So a big one that I was dealing with, especially with this pregnancy, was anxiety. I would sit there, and at first, with my daughter that I had before, her whole pregnancy was full of anxiety. And we have experienced, before we had her, we had experienced the loss of our son due to a genetic disorder that he was diagnosed with during that pregnancy. So with my pregnancy with my daughter, I was so angry at myself that I was anxious. And I would sit there with this anxiety, and I would try to just push it away and shove it down. And all that did was, one, make the anxiety worse. And two, I started becoming numb. I couldn't connect with her. I didn't connect with her my whole pregnancy. When she was born, it took me another 4 months before I felt that rush of connection, because I had started doing some healing. And then this pregnancy, before this pregnancy, we had 2 miscarriages between my daughter and this baby. Excuse me. So I sat with a lot of anxiety again, especially in that first trimester. But what I did this time, that was different, and that has helped me already connect so much more deeply with myself, this baby, this pregnancy, the beautiful woman that I have grown to become, and that I've always been, but I had, put layers around, was to sit with that emotion and say, okay, why am I anxious? Well, you've experienced multiple traumas in terms of losing children. That is understandable. I am meeting you with love and talking to yourself like that. I'm meeting you with love. You are anxious because you have experienced hardship and trauma and loss. And then sitting there and saying, thank you, anxiety, for being there. I know you're here in some form to protect me, and I'm okay. And I am going to let you go. And so that's the process, right, of allowing myself to feel, recognizing the emotion is there, right? Not trying to shove it down, not trying to run from it. So awareness, pausing and reflecting. Where is this coming from? Where has it resonated or originated? Pinpointing it. I've journaled a lot about it. Journaling is so helpful. Or maybe you're a verbal journal and you can record yourself and delete them if you need to as a form of release, or listen to them again and be like, oh wow, I was going through that, maybe that's what's tied to this. And also the part of just sitting with it. I don't need to throw out the anxiety right away. And it didn't go away right away. It lasted quite a while through this pregnancy, but it was so much easier to allow it to come in and flow out, and then it would come in and then it would flow out. And so during this fall season, during your luteal phase, our bodies naturally will start to feel more and with the waning moon, because of the way that the earth moves, the amount of energy being pulled from the moon that affects our body, the way that the weather is, the way that the whole system of our universe goes, and the hormones that arise in our bodies during our premenstrual phase, telling us it's time to feel again. Here's everything rising up that you've been dealing with this month. I'm ready for, your body's saying, I'm ready for you to feel it. I'm ready for you to sit with it. And then in your menstrual phase, during the new moon, during the winter, it is time to release. It is time to be still, to be bare and vulnerable. And I will get more into that in the future. But Today I just wanted to mostly discuss the fall season and kind of ramble about that. It's one of my favorite seasons, is a season of allowing yourself to feel, because it is something very powerful to give yourself permission and to give yourself that space, and creating that space and creating that time, even if it's 5 minutes a day, even if it's 30 seconds of just recognizing, okay, I'm dealing with this emotion. I'm going to be more gentle with myself as I move throughout my day. Okay, I'm dealing with anger. I'm going to probably separate myself and give myself more space today. Or I'm dealing with excited joy, right? It's not always these harsher or more intense emotions. I'm dealing with a lot of joy. I'm going to be around family. I'm going to experience this feeling, and letting yourself feel and be excited and happy and mad and angry, and just let yourself sit with it and be with these emotions. Think these emotions. Don't see them as someone that you have to identify as either, right? You don't want to say like, I am angry or I am mad and things like that, right? Because the energy should always be moving through and moving away. You don't want that to be held within you. So changing the narrative to say, I am feeling anger, I am feeling sad, I am feeling anxious, and then allowing that to be okay. So this season, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to sit with yourself, with your emotions, to just be, to have space, because you deserve it, and you deserve to have that space to feel. If you are interested in getting one of my books, I have them in this size and, oh my goodness, I have them in this size. So 8.5 by 11. These ones are like 5.5 by 8, somewhere around there. And you can get them on Etsy. I'll put that in the description, but it's merkabaawakening.etsy.com. And I appreciate you all for being here with me today and feeling with me today, and I look forward to discussing the winter season as we move into it, and another one of my favorite seasons. I guess they all are, but again, I just appreciate you for being here. Namaste.